Hey everybody, how you doing today? I'm in the kitchen today, and I'm going to. Today is going to be one of my cooking days. Sometimes I like to come in here and I just like to cook when I feel like it. So today I got up, not feeling too bad. My problem is a lot of times I get in here and cook, and then I feel bad. But that's okay. It's okay. Today I'm going to fix a berry crumble. And I know I have probably made this before, but evidently those videos must just go out into the universe. I don't know where they go. But anyway, I may not make it the way you make things, but this is the way Kathy makes it. So, this is just how I do it. If you don't want to do it that way, that's fine. Do it your way. But this is just for maybe somebody that's never made one and they want to know how to make one. And so this is how I do it. I get me a bag of, these are frozen berries. Now in the summertime, if you have access to fresh berries and you want to buy them, that's fine. This is a 2-pound bag. And then I have some frozen blueberries that I have frozen, and I add those to it. I like a few more berries, but I don't really need 2 bags of these. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in my kettle and get them started cooking, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, we're over here at the stove now, and please don't ask me to get this closer because I'm doing things the best I can in my kitchen. This is just the way it has to be. And so it doesn't do any good to tell me how to try to rearrange things when I'm doing, I know what I can do in my kitchen. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do is put this bag of berries in here. And I'm going to get them started a little bit. And then I'll put the blueberries in on top of them. Because right now it would make my kettle too full. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put about 3/4 cup sugar in this. Maybe a little less. A lot of times I put a little less and I taste of it to see how it is. So I'm going to put about half of that. I'm going to put about a 1/2 cup in there right now. And I'm going to put about that much salt. You need a little bit of salt in it. And you need some lemon juice. I just put me about a teaspoon in it. Maybe just a little bit more. And I got to have about a 1/2 cup of water to start it. So I put some water in here. I don't put too much because the berries will make juice of their own, and you don't want to water it down too much. And I'm going to put this on about 5, and I'm going to let that kind of warm up and start getting that, thawing out the berries. And then I'll add my blueberries in, and I will be right back in just a minute. Okay, the berries are starting to kind of heat up on the bottom. So I'm just taking the spatula and just kind of moving it around a little bit. And I think I have enough room now I can put my blueberries in. And I may not need them all, but I probably will put them in there. I like a lot of berries in it. And my friend Cody loves this. The little guy that he likes to, when I cook a meal or something, he likes to get some, a couple from me. So, and that's good because that lets me cook, and that way I have something to do with the food. My husband doesn't eat this. Every once in a while he might eat a little bit of berry crumble or something like that, but it's not very often that he does. Now, I'm going to let this kind of keep warming up, and I'm going to take some cornstarch, and I'm going to mix about 2 or 3 tablespoons. And when I say tablespoons, when I'm cooking like this, I'm talking about one of these. And I heap it up, and I put it in a glass, and I'll show you how much I put in. Just a second. I like these little glasses because they work really well for it. But I take just a couple of I usually take about 3. I'd rather have a little extra than not enough. Because this may seem pretty thick, but it's not going to be thick, because once it cooks in the oven, it's going to thin out some more, because some more juice are going to come out of these berries. So I'm going to put just enough water in this to make it like a little slurry where I can pour it in this. And I like to cook my berries. I like to do it on top of the stove. That way it lets me know how thick I've got them. Because sometimes you can do it while they're cold and just mix your cornstarch and sugar and everything in. But sometimes you end up with real soupy, I don't know. I don't like it as good like that. I like to do it this way better. So I'm going to put my water in my cornstarch. And sometimes, you can kind of stir it. And you can tell if it doesn't have enough water pretty quick. If it's still kind of hard to stir. Because it will be hard to stir. But see, it's still got globs in it. So I need to add just a little more water. And that does better. It's more like you want it pourable. So I will be back in just a minute when this is getting ready to put the cornstarch in. I'm going to get it boiling. Once it reaches a boil, that's when I put my cornstarch in. You don't want to cook it too long on top of the stove. You don't want to just destroy all your berries. I am going to put a little bit more of the sugar in. So I used all of it. I used about 2/3 cup or 3/4. Don't know exactly, but just taste of it. Taste your berries. I can't tell you exactly because some berries are sweet. Some you get that are not so sweet. So you've got to, it takes at least a 1/2 cup. Put you a 1/2 cup in it. If you add extra berries, add a little bit more for those extra berries. So right now, I'm just waiting on it. I will add some butter to it. I add about 2 tablespoons of butter to this. Just gives it a whole different flavor, a whole better flavor. Right before I put the cornstarch in. Okay, the berries are just getting ready to looks like they're getting ready to start boiling. And I don't want them to get into a hard boil. I just want them to get into a low boil. So I'm trying to kind of watch them here. And I'm going to try to get you down where you can see what's going on. This is hard to do in my little kitchen. My counter is about that wide that I have to work with here. And it's not very long. So I'm just doing the best I can here. I'm going to put the butter in right now that I usually put in. I'm going to try to get the part back here. Get this butter in here and kind of get it melted up. And then I'm going to put my cornstarch in. And you want to stir this around very gently. And I'm just going to kind of let that butter melt there. Butter, I don't know. I've made these without butter, and I have made them with the butter, and they taste much better with the butter. So I put the butter in. And it doesn't take a lot. I'm going to be making 2 small ones out of this. I'm not going to be making a big one because I'm going to give my friend Cody a whole one, I think. And then I'll have the other one if somebody wants it. Send me a message and... Now, I am going to taste to see if I've got enough sugar in this. Let me get me a little... That's pretty good. I think I need just a tad bit more salt, though. Now, we're almost there. You want to let it kind of develop. Look at that pretty red syrup there. Comes off of that. Now I got to rinse my hand. But it is so, so good. One of the best memories I have of food is during the summertime. My granny would make blackberry cobblers or blackberry dumplings, and I just loved them as a kid. Man, I'm telling you, we didn't get sweet stuff very often, and I loved them. So let's see. Let me get you down a little bit closer here. I'm trying to work this with leaving me enough room to work. Okay, now I'm going to start pouring the cornstarch in. It hasn't hardly started boiling, but I don't want it to get to a hard boil or anything. I tried to do this before because I don't want it to... let me turn this down, though. You need your burner down lower when you do this because it will stick. You've got to kind of stir this. I pour it in a little bit at a time and see how thick it's making it because I don't want to make it a big glob of paste. My grandmother used to do this with flour. She never had cornstarch, and she would do it with flour. But I like the way cornstarch blends in and doesn't clump up. So, in doing it with making a liquid out of it, I have made a liquid out of flour and water, but I still don't think it works hardly as good as cornstarch. Not for this, anyway. And I'm going to try to get this pretty thick because I don't want it to be soupy when I take it out of the oven. And it's beginning to get there. Now I'm just going to turn my burner completely off. And I'm going to pour in a little bit more of the cornstarch. When you're working with something that has a lot of water in it, a lot of liquid in like a berry, you have to use a little bit more cornstarch. Okay, now I've got this pretty much where I want it. You can see it's just kind of let me get you right here. You can kind of see what it looks like. You can see the berries in it. There's raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. Now, I'm going to have to crank you back up here a second. This is a job. If you've never tried to video something like this, you try it. Especially if you're my age. Okay, now, I'm going to take that plumb off the heat. My burner, even though I've turned it off, it stays hot for a while, and I don't want to scorch this. Now, I'm going to put this, I've got to get my 2 cork boards over there, and I'm going to move you to the other side. I will be right back. Okay, we're going to put the berry mixture in the pans. I've got 2 pans, 2 round pans like this. I buy a lot of disposable pans because if I give somebody food or if I make something to sell, you have to have some way to do it. So that's what I do. I like to take my measuring cup and just kind of get this out. Try to get kind of an equal amount in it. Okay, there's about 2.5 cups in that one. Now I'm going to put 2.5 cups in this one. Let me crank you right here. Now, I can tell that I'm going to be able to go ahead and put 3 in this one. And I'll put some in the other one. Okay. Now, that's probably all I need in that because if you get too much in it, it's going to boil over in your oven and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to scoot these right here out of the way. And I've got about a cup of stuff left. I will just put that in a container and put that over a pancake or French toast or something like that. You know, Robert will eat that. Now, he likes that. So I'm going to set my pan back over here. Now, let me scoot this over out of the way here. And now we're going to make the crumble that goes on top of it. And the crumble, the other day I was telling you about shortcut ingredients. This is a really good shortcut ingredient. This is Betty Crocker oatmeal cookie mix. And what I do is I take this and I add about 3/4 cup more of oats and about a little over a half a cup of brown sugar. And I add cinnamon and this together, and I take a stick of butter and melt it, sometimes a stick and a half, just to see. And I put just a little bit more flour, about a half cup of flour in with it. And this makes a really good base for the crumble. It really adds to the texture, and it works really good. So I will be right back as I put these in. I'm going to open this up. Okay, I poured out the cookie mix in the bowl, and I'm going to add a half a cup of self-rising flour. And these are quick oats, and I usually take my hands and kind of smush them up just a little bit, grind them up just a little bit. And then I take my brown sugar, my half a cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to mix all of this together. And this will make a good crumble. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of cinnamon to it. I'm just going to take my fork. Not too much cinnamon, just enough to give it a little flavor. I like a little bit more in it than what's in the cookie mix. Plus you're adding your other ingredients to it, so you know, you got to kind of fix it up there. Now, you can use either brown sugar too. You can use dark brown sugar or light brown sugar. I have a stick and a half of real butter. I don't use margarine and nothing like this. And now I'll stir this in to see if it needs any more. I don't pour it all in at once because I just want to see what it, if it needs more. Usually I will take my hand when it gets down to getting it really mixed up, because your hand just works better. And that's what I'm going to do right here. I can tell more of how it's mixing and how much more stuff it needs by doing it this way. Okay. It's probably going to need a little bit more, so I'm going to put a little bit more in there. You don't want to just get it greasy with butter. You don't want to do that. Let me go back and let me get a bigger bowl. I feel like I'm fighting that little bowl. See, I couldn't pull up what was on the bottom. This works much better. Use a bigger bowl. Don't do like I just did. I knew better than that. I don't know why I did it. I'm going to need my other little bit of butter here, so I'm going to put that in. Sometimes I put chopped pecans in this. Now, if I know somebody doesn't like nuts, I don't put it in theirs. But I like chopped pecans in it. There's a little piece of brown sugar. Didn't get mixed up good. Okay, now, I think we're getting it mixed up pretty good. I'm going to sweep the floor. I get in a hurry, trying to hurry through this, and I shouldn't do it, I just shouldn't. And I'm going to sprinkle this on top of it. You want to kind of just make sure you've got a good layer on top of it. You don't want to get too much. You want to leave a few little cracks around the edges so it can breathe a little bit when it starts cooking. Okay, now, let me get the other one over here. These are really, really good desserts. If you like berries and you like, kind of a crumbly-like texture, you would probably love these. I've been making these for years. Seems like I refine my technique a little more, though, all the time. I'm constantly trying to do some different things, Adding the pecans was a plus, I think. Okay. Now we're going to put just a little bit right there. I mean, I love a lot of crumble on it. I really do. Put a little bit more on this one, not too much. I might make Robert a little crumble, but he's not a big crumble eater. So now I'm going to put these in the oven on 375 for about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, sometimes a little longer. I just watch my crust, and when your crust starts to kind of get golden brown, start to turn, and you can tell it's getting harder, then that's when it's taken out. But at least 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes. I have left them in there 40 minutes. So, you know, you want to make sure that your the berries are bubbling up around it and your crust is starting to turn brown. So I will be back and show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, guys, the crumbles have come out of the oven and they look awesome. They look so good. They would be good with a big scoop of vanilla ice cream right now. Trust me. I made a small one for Robert. Let me turn this around. I made a small one here for Robert. I didn't put a lot of crumble in his. And these are the two I made, the other two. And you can see where it's kind of boiled around it here a little bit. I always put aluminum foil under mine, but these look so good. You can see how they've started turning brown. And when they get to looking like that on top, you know that they're, and take them out of the oven. I left these in 32 minutes, and then I just turned the oven off and let them sit in there for about 10 minutes and cool down. And they look really good, and I'm sure they will be good. So you all try you some crumbles and let me know what you think. If you try one, put a picture of it on here so we can see it. I love to see that you all try things that we're making. So I will let you all go. Do something good for somebody else today. This is a rough old world we live in. Show somebody some kindness. Call them, give them an encouraging word. Cook them something good to eat. Fix them a dessert. You know, I do that all the time for my neighbors over here. And you know, food is something we all have to have. And it just shows that you're thinking about them. And Jesus said, when you do this to the least of these, that means the lowest people that we know, you know. Try to do good things for everybody, not just the ones you think is going to be good back to you. You know, Jesus said when you do it to them, you do it to me. Share the love of Christ today. If you don't know Christ, I'd love to tell you how to get to know him. Talk to you all later. Bye.